So two things I want to start with before we talk, we get into the content part of the show. One is, if anybody watching right now is a student at UC Berkeley and your professor is that man right next to me, he was nearly 20 minutes late today. You officially have ammunition to toss back at your professor. If you're 15 to 20 minutes late, he has no right to burn you on that. So just an FYI there, in case you're wondering why we started so late. Armando, I know you're a good sport. You can play along with that. And secondly, Armando, I can't believe before we started recording, you actually thought you had to ask, can I rip on the Warriors today? Oh, dude, I just want anyone who ever comes on the show to be genuine, to just keep it real, man. This ain't the Chappelle show where keeping it real can go wrong. Be authentic. We're just here to espouse the truth. That's the only agenda we got going here. And at least from my perspective, I love Stephen Curry and I want what's best for him, legacy-wise and everything else. But yeah, dude, of course, man. We just want to be honest and hopefully give you some accurate analysis. And sometimes the truth hurts. It's why all these other shows are just shaking pom-poms, man. Like, go Warriors! Woo! Nothing's wrong with our team. Steve Kerr's amazing. He's a genius, bro. Every player on this team is a potential all-star. I love my Dubs. I love them too, but I just can't fake it. I can't lie, man. It ain't in my genes to do that. So we're going to give you some authentic analysis. Armando, how you doing? You ready to go?
I'm good, man. Good to see you. Been looking forward to today. Hell yeah.
What's up?
Been looking forward to today. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Always looking forward to having you on the program. And we got a couple of we got a news item. Steve Kerr dropped a bit of a bomb just an hour or two ago, maybe less than that, on 95.7 The Game, where he has a weekly radio show that he's paid for to do. And again, there was something he said today that is eye-opening, and we're going to talk about that. It has to do with the man. I'm only going to play this once. His name is Kristaps Porziņģis, a.k.a. Pingus. And but the news is crazy. It's insane. It's going to beg a lot of questions. I wish he actually took questions from people who were not sycophants so we could actually get some answers every once in a while. And we also are going to hear from Quinn Schneider, the head coach of the Atlanta Hawks, Jonathan Kuminga's new head coach, because when you hear his words describing his new wing, and then you've been listening to all the BS rhetoric from the current Warriors head coach about the same player, damn, is there a contrast? And we're going to play that sound and talk about it as well. Yeah, Kuminga is immediately making the Warriors regret the decision that they made. So let's get into it. It's Friday. Always love that part. March 21st, right, Armando? That's the watch party?
Let's do it, man. It's going to be fun.
Okay, and one last thing before we hit the open. Do not subscribe to Sprewell is Right. Don't do it. Right, Armando? You don't want new you don't want fans. You don't want subscribers.
Only that people want good basketball. It don't matter. We're not cheering for like delusional reality. It's like just enjoy basketball. Everybody who's there, everybody who needs to be there is already there. We're good. Beautiful. It's hella fun.
Beautiful. So if you're interested in subscribing again to Armando Lara's podcast, it's on YouTube. It's called Sprewell Was Right. 3 words. Sprewell, just like Latrell Sprewell, was right. Don't subscribe to it. Don't even bother. Don't even go to the page. If you do that, it's going to incense this man. Stay away. Leave him alone. He doesn't want to grow his channel. Again, it's called Sprewell Was Right. He's also a professor at UC Berkeley, so he brings some acumen to the table. We're both professors, as crazy as that sounds. We both love basketball. We both follow the Warriors, love our Warriors. We hate what's going on with them, and we're going to talk about it. The program's called The Golden Days. We're powered by FanDuel. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. You can follow Armando Lara, professor at UC Berkeley, host of Sprewell Was Right, on Threads at Mando_man10. You can also follow him on Twitter at Armando Lara, M as in Mary. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Threads and Instagram at Dog Wild. Over on Twitter, my handle is at Surf Journalist. The program on both platforms at Golden Days Pod. As mentioned just a moment ago, we're sponsored by FanDuel, and the Warriors are back in action. A nice 2-day reprieve for Golden State before they resume regular season basketball, and they're hosting the Los Angeles Lakers. That is going to be a nationally televised game. The line, I believe it's going to be on ABC. We're going to get the whole inside the NBA treatment. Gotta love that. We're going to hear Chuck gripe about the Warriors getting attention when they shouldn't. I always appreciate hearing them. And the Lakers currently, courtesy of the FanDuel Sportsbook, favored at Chase Center over the Warriors. The line -3.5. The money line for the Warriors +132. If you think they can pull off the upset, the OU on that one, 227.5. And we start with that game because new Warriors center Kristaps Porziņģis, who about a year ago was reported by Shams Charania as being diagnosed with POTS. POTS, again, we've talked about this extensively, and I already forgot what the acronym is. I know the T stands for tachycardia. I know the S stands for syndrome. It's postular orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Shams Charania reported this almost a year ago, that what kept Porzingis out of a lot of games in his final season with the Boston Celtics was ultimately POTS. Well, apparently, what we learned today from Steve Kerr, who was on 95.7 The Game, is that he doesn't have POTS. We don't have the multimedia content available yet where we can play the sound, but I'll read to you, quote, what was asked and what was said, or specifically what was said. Steve Kerr, quote, after the trade, I called Anzi Sala, Atlanta's GM, and I asked, is this POTS story real? He said, it's actually not POTS. So that was some misinformation that was out there, unquote. Steve Kerr calling Shams Charania a liar. It was Shams who not only reported it, but wrote a whole story about it. And so if it's not POTS, that means it's something else, because something has been afflicting him and affecting him. Steve Kerr could also be absolutely full of shit because there's nobody out there who can investigate closely enough to get the real information. HIPAA laws are a real thing. No doctor is going to reveal to the public what Kristaps Porziņģis has been dealing with. Shams likely got that information from a player agent. And again, no one refuted it. No one pushed back on it until literally just now, moments ago, when Steve Kerr said that is misinformation. Something smells very off here. Armando, we'll start there. What was your reaction when you just found out that information, just like all of us? Because again, this interview just happened moments ago. We're coming to you live on Friday, February 27th. We started the show at approximately 6:20 p.m. So we're just learning this like everyone else. It's kind of crazy. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I had two reactions right now in my brain, but one, it's an autoimmune disease. So I need to hear the whole quote, but it's possible he's technically true and they're like splitting hairs. Maybe they found out it's a different autoimmune disease, so he's able to say it's not POTS. I don't know. I need to hear the whole Kerr quote because Shams definitely reported that.
Yeah.
And then my second reaction was, oh, Stevie, I thought you had nothing to do with trade stuff. I thought you didn't you say that Dunleavy never could, he just lets you know what's going on. He doesn't that you have nothing to do with the roster construction. And weren't you saying that when the team was so bad and you got up on there and you said, that's Dunleavy's job. I don't consult with that. What are you doing calling the Hawks GM? I'm just curious. It kind of seems like the stories change a lot out of this front office. And
hell yeah, dude.
This Kerr, Lacob, Dunleavy, Steph Curry vibe era. I feel like the stories change a lot, and it's easy to catch up on. You feel me, Cy?
100% feel you. I've been saying this for years now that the concept that Steve Kerr routinely brings up in interviews, the separation of powers. That's how he likes to call it. I wrote a whole detailed story on the Golden Days Substack just to refute that with detailed evidence showing that no, Steve Kerr meddles in everything. And what I've been saying for a very long time is that Steve Kerr is full of shit when he says that. He is involved in every major decision personnel-wise. And what I'm coming to realize in 2026 is that this is Joe Lacob's biggest downfall. It's hands down the biggest flaw in his ownership of the Golden State Warriors is letting Steve Kerr run amok with power. He failed as a GM with the Suns. He's never once proven he's adept at evaluating talent. He should be nowhere near any realm of deciding who is good and who is not good. Yet he's calling all the shots, man. Like Mike Dunleavy Jr., you could hear it even in his tone with interviews, how deferential he is to Kerr. He acts like Steve Kerr's his dad. And then Joe Lacob, we never really heard much about him when it comes to Kerr and his feelings on it until that recent snippet from our beloved, our worshipped, our revered Tim Kawakami. I'm being facetious saying all that. In an interview that resembled far more a press release than a news story, Joe Lacob saying that, oh, he's such a good guy. I love him. And he started when someone's touting someone else's resume, that's when you know they're going into full-on defense mode. And Joe Lacob, sure enough, oh, this guy led us to 6 finals. He's won 4 championships. That to me was the most depressing aspect of the last maybe 3-4 years, because I kept holding out hope that maybe Joe Lacob had more sense than letting this man dictate personnel decisions. Yet here we are. It's damn depressing. You're 100% right. Steve Kerr runs this show, and it's why the Warriors have been mediocre for now 4 effing years.
Dude, when I was thinking about today, you know, like that's opening a can of worms. And there's 3, I would love to know what the chat would like to hear most on. Because I want to talk about how dead in the water the Warriors are, how bad they are for believing in the Stevie Kerr 30-game tankathon last year and what that meant for this year. 2, I would love to talk about Jonathan Kuminga is already a floor general with high IQ in Atlanta, elevating everyone on the court just simply by getting minutes. I would love to talk about that. And I would love to talk about, along with that, Steve Kerr literally did not do his job. He, instead of saying, I'm going to do what it takes to integrate this young man and use him to elevate our performance, I'm going to be lazy and just say, trade his ass. I could talk about that. 3rd, I want to talk about the mental gymnastics that I've heard the Light Years podcast, Steve Kawakami, and Anthony Slater and Tim Bontemps, 3 podcasts, mental gymnastics, say that if Jonathan Kuminga does well in Atlanta, it's because of Steve Kerr's good coaching. What an epic joke. So I would love whatever. I don't know what the chat wants to hear about most, but I'm happy to talk about it, baby. Oh man, do I want to talk about this stuff.
And it really makes me wonder if that was an added reason for Bob Myers saying hell no to this, realizing that Joe Lacob's going to listen to anything Steve Kerr tells him and believe it. And Myers, as the GM, is like, wait, what? Like, are you serious? I'm out. Peace. What the hell do
Onzi's was out too. Onzi is an exile from the Myers regime, and he wasn't down with the Steve Kerr 3-4 guards. And he went to Atlanta, and he's building a team with wings. So, like, add it up, baby. Add it up. Easy to see, man. Woo.
Oh my God. I saw, I'm not going to highlight this chat, but I saw someone with a fake diagnosis of Porzingis, what he supposedly is really dealing with instead of POTS. It also is an acronym with 4 letters. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to show that on the screen, but hopefully I hinted enough so you could think about how demented yet kind of funny that is. And nonetheless, you know, we are with the Kristaps Porziņģis experiment. I'm going through the interview right now, Armando. Every time I turn to you and you talk, I'm going to go through this interview to find the specific snippet because I don't see a transcription of it. I can go to the exact minute.
I'll take on the Porzingis health issue. Like, let me just preface this by saying this. The Golden State Warriors are irrelevant. Totally, completely irrelevant in the NBA. The Bay Area basketball, Bay Area Steve Kerr, Podziemski, hype boys, hype beasts are so we've been calling them bubble boys. Like they're in a bubble. And they not only do they not actually watch Warriors games that often, they don't watch the rest of the NBA.
Correct.
They don't realize how interchangeable who the Warriors play are with G Leaguers. Podziemski, you can get him anybody like that in the second round. Guy Santos is good, and I was the one saying that they should have been playing him early on in the season when Steve Kerr had this guy benched, and it took him getting kicked out of a game for Terry Stotts to play him. FYI, reminder, goldfish memory. Al Horford, he's hitting threes. Melton is getting 28 points against a tanking Memphis team. Like just being sold lollipop land, happy boy basketball. Like, Pajeps or Fitz and Azubuike. Oh, it's so great. These guys are playing so great. They just need to get Porzingis healthy. No. Porzingis cannot move even if he's healthy. He's not the guy on paper you think he is, even if he's healthy. This health stuff is just, they're happy he's unhealthy. They're happy because it gives them an excuse. Steve Kerr has his injury excuse. And if he actually got his roster, if they still had Jimmy Butler, they would have been, they'd be losing in the same way they're going to lose this year. And, it's just, we are in irrelevancy. The narrative has not caught up to reality yet. Basketball irrelevancy. And I want to go through it. So I sent you a text that my cousin Andres sent me about how the Warriors are in worse shape than anybody actually realizes, even worse than people realize. And I want to go through it line by line because it's pretty astonishing what my cousin put together in terms of the Warriors contract situations and the type of talent they have on this team.
Your cousin, by the way, dropping it, and we'll get to that list in moments. Your cousin dropping a great chat post writing that Draymond Green needs a burner account so he can tell us what's actually happening. Maybe he already has. Maybe he already is. Armando and I are not the only people on social media calling out the utter BS of Kerr. There are quite a few people out there now, thankfully, saying what we've been trying to tell folks for years, that this head coach is just a lot of ego, a lot of stuff. The word I continually use is obtuse. I can't think of a more apropos term to that's applicable for
Cyrus
Kerr runs this ship. Yeah.
Hey, Cyrus. Somebody just called Julian gay in the chat.
Yeah, let's not. Yeah, Sven. Fair. Let's do two things on that note. I'm glad you brought that up. Sven, I'm going to put you in timeout just in case you think that you can use verbiage that loose here. Okay, no hate speech, please. Again, that includes homophobic language, racist language, and just keep out the hate shit. All right, it should be common sense what is and isn't appropriate. And secondly, if you folks don't mind, the cardinal rule in this show is just leave the host's name out of it. That also includes Armando Lara. I don't want him being distracted either. Okay, like look, Armando, if you're cool with this on the nights where you're not hosting and you're in the chat, engaging because you're hilarious when you do that. When you join us from wherever you are, just dropping some incredible, insightful, prescient truth bombs in our chat. Look, if you want to go back and forth with the professor in that setting, go for it. But I don't want the man distracted and just be respectful. Just be respectful, generally speaking. But let's keep the hate speech out, please, of the chat. And let's not denigrate hosts so we can actually focus on content here. We do have a paid chat real fast. Let's get to that from Brooklyn Opinion 499. By the way, Armando, anything I should add real quick before we move on from my spiel?
On that last thing? No, it's all good. I just want to protect people in the chat. It's kind of like coming with personal ad hominem attacks. Like don't stick. It's okay to disagree, but call each other stupid or whatever. But I'm as best as I can see it, I'm gonna tell Cy when I can see it. It's not cool. You shouldn't be treating people like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Brooklyn Opinion in the chat again, $4.99. Thank you very much, sir or miss, because I don't exactly know what the gender is saying. Joe Lacob gave the Warriors a future stretch five athletic defensive anchor in James Wiseman, who, side note, right now is playing for Team USA, funny enough. Good for him. I'm glad to see him healthy enough to play basketball again. And an athletic alpha in Jonathan Kuminga, and Steve Kerr single-handedly ruined the two timeline. Adding to that, don't forget Steve Kerr. If he had believed in Anthony Edwards, the Warriors could have traded up one spot, swapped picks with the T-Wolves, given them what became the number 7 pick in the next year's draft, because that's all Minnesota really wanted. They just wanted that pick back in the next year's draft, which became Kuminga. But the Warriors could have drafted Anthony Edwards. Think about that. I mean, if you still stubbornly refuse to believe that Steve Kerr has no eye for talent, and he's implementing his personal bias into all of these personnel decisions, Anthony Edwards, the two timeline thing would have been a wild success. But Steve Kerr thought he was lazy, told him that to his face at a dinner. Anthony Edwards took that to heart and has been on a vengeance tour ever since. Side note, 3 years later, at the FIBA World Cup, where the Team USA couldn't even medal with Steve Kerr as the head coach, Anthony Edwards was not listed as a starter on that team. Austin Reeves was, and Anthony Edwards had to vocalize his disdain for coming off the bench and how ridiculous it was, because he's easily the best player on that team. Thankfully, in that instance, Steve Kerr listened after the fact, but he also went ahead and started Josh Hart at the center position when he had a actual talent on his bench who could play and bring size to the table, and Team USA did not medal. My point is, this two timeline thing, and this goes back to Joe Lacob, enabling this man, stubbornly refusing to look at the writing that's on the wall everywhere. He is not a good evaluator of talent. He doesn't know what a good player represents, what a shitty player represents. And there is so much evidence to substantiate what I'm saying, which is technically an opinion, substantiated, by a lot of evidence, including, again, Anthony Edwards, who was right there on the table for the Golden State Warriors, but Steve Kerr wasn't sold on him, and we're getting more and more evidence that Joe Lacob listens to Kerr above everyone else. It's insane. And again, side note, in case you're wondering, well, if he listens to Steve Kerr, why did they draft Kuminga instead of Franz Wagner? Do not forget that in the summer of 2021, when the draft was taking place, because of COVID, the Summer Olympics were pushed back to 2021. And Steve Kerr was in Tokyo when the NBA draft was taking place. Not to mention Draymond Green vouched for Kuminga. Jarrett Jack, former Warriors player, was in Draymond's ear, who then told Bob Myers. So we don't really know what happened there exactly. Like there are multiple reports indicating that Steve Kerr wanted Franz, but probably didn't push for him and allowed the team to draft who they wanted. But he's in charge, and he doesn't know shit when it comes to who is a good basketball player and who's a bad basketball player. If he did know how to do that effectively, he would still be the Suns GM. He failed at that. He is not perfect. He is not a winner everywhere he goes. And sorry, man, anything to add to that?
Dude, I have so much to say right now.
Let loose.
I want to talk about James Wiseman and Franz Wagner. I gotta set the record straight. I have spoken on Franz Wagner before on this chat, but I actually, now that I think about it, since I've been on here since the summertime predicting everything that's going to happen, the Go Home in a Body Bag program 4.0, I have not addressed James Wiseman and what I think about that. And I actually think most people get it wrong, Cy. They say that either Steve Kerr didn't develop him as a talent or the front office drafted a bad guy. I think it's totally, totally wrong. Both of those opinions are wrong. In reality, what happened, Cy, is he was a bad talent, and Steve Kerr played his ass a lot thinking he was a good talent. That's how bad of a talent evaluator Steve Kerr is. He actually invested enormous amount of playing time developing that guy. In fact, after the preseason of James Wiseman's rookie year, me and my cousins looked at him and we evaluated the talent, and we said, the dude does not have hands. He drops passes, and that's not really something that gets better in the NBA. And we just saw the low defensive IQ. Someone with that size doesn't know how to play big. And we did not believe in it, even at he was 19 from the get-go preseason. And you know what happened the next day, Cy? Steve Kerr came out of the media and said, quote, James Wiseman is going to be an MVP, MVP, perennial all-star, franchise-level player. Steve Kerr said that. And after he said that, he started James Wiseman in his rookie year. So people say that, he doesn't invest in young talent. No, he did. He did invest in James Wiseman. He got hella playing time. His rookie year, I think he averaged 15 or something like that until he got hurt. He got a lot of playing time. And Steve Kerr doesn't have the talent evaluation. He invested in the wrong guy, in my humble opinion. So when people just say, for me, it's not like supporting two timelines, young talent or not. It's about supporting the right talent and looking at the guys that are good. You could see that he could not move in space with that kind of athleticism. It was odd. Time and time again, the talent evaluation on this coaching staff is absolute dog shit. Here's the other thing that I want to say about this.
Yep.
Steve Kerr leaked to the Anthony Slater last month that he would have taken Franz Wagner. He wanted that out after they traded Jonathan Kuminga. He had that reiterated. Warriors fans, if you think that Franz Wagner is a better player than Jonathan Kuminga, it ain't nothing but RACIST.
Oh.
Well, because that means you don't watch basketball. You ain't never seen Franz Wagner play. You don't watch him and play on the Eastern Conference. You don't see him get benched in the playoffs. This guy, have you guys ever seen his shot? That shot is broke. That shit looks like it looks like like watching a car wreck in live
he's not a good
action every time he shoots.
He's not a good 3-point shooter.
And it was so bad. His shot was so bad that they had to trade 5 first-round draft picks for T-Rex on the Memphis Grizzlies because he was going to somehow spread the floor. Do you remember this summer when all the NBA media was saying the Orlando Magic are going to be finals contenders in the East because they picked up T-Rex for 5 first-round draft picks, not knowing Franz Wagner's ass, and he's just getting the media boost, the quarterback media boost. You know what if you catch my drift? And what a effing joke. If you ever think that for yourself, like you don't watch and you're making an assumption. It's like, white guys can shoot, so he must be a great player. He would have been great at our system. No. Pods can't shoot. He can't shoot. If you're ass on defense, you better be hitting 45% at all times.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
It's why, like from my perspective, the traditional point guard in the NBA is dead, because if you can't also score and or play elite defense, your position in the NBA is antiquated. It's extinct practically, unless you're just a dinosaur in terms of your basketball thinking, like a Steve Kerr, who still loves to parade these guys because they can handle the ball, even though they're not elite shooters and or can play defense. And Franz Wagner, another ding on his resume early in his career is durability. I mean, if people are going to hate on and criticize Kuminga for missing games because of various injuries, and at the same time you're touting Franz Wagner, he ain't available that much either. He's missing a huge chunk of games. You could even make the argument that's part of why the Orlando Magic have routinely underachieved, because their players can't stay on the court. Jalen Suggs, another one as well, who deals with a shitload of injuries. You got to be able to stay on the court. I'm totally with you. And I think I found that clip. I hope. This was on Steve Kerr does a weekly show on 95.7 The Game, the official flagship radio station of the Golden State Warriors. Hell, you might as well call it, as Riz said in our chat earlier, 95.7 The Kerr, 95.7 the official radio station of the Golden State Warriors. It's their propaganda wing. and Steve Kerr has a weekly show on there. And he said today that what Kristaps Porziņģis is dealing with is not POTS, which is news to everybody because Shams Charania reported it was POTS. And so I hope I got the right part of the segment. We're doing a live show. I'm trying to find a snippet from a podcast while hosting a program. So I hope I got it right. Armando, let me know if you can hear it. I think I got it set up where we can hear the audio of this. And this was Steve Kerr on 95.7 The Game earlier today on his weekly show, revealing that apparently Kristaps Porziņģis does not have POTS.
Steve, what's going on with Kristaps Porziņģis, and what is the expectation for tomorrow night?
Well, he's questionable for tomorrow. He was really sick last week, as you guys know, didn't go on the trip, but he's feeling better, and he practiced with us today. And so we'll list him as questionable. The hope is definitely that he'll be able to play tomorrow.
I know listeners are still, and I'd count even, Dibs and I among those who we're still trying to understand what the whole POTS thing is that Kristaps has dealt with before. So when he was sick this week, is it kind of under that umbrella, or was it just regular guy, regular sick?
When I heard about the trade, I read about the POTS diagnosis, and then I called Anzi Sala, who was with us. He's now Atlanta's GM, and he's a good friend of mine. And I called him. I said, "Is this POTS story real?" And he said, "It's actually not POTS. It was not POTS." And so that was that was some misinformation that was out there. I don't know if anybody's asked him about it, but bottom line is whatever was bothering him in Atlanta that was keeping him out had nothing to do with the illness last week. So he was just sick. There's a lot going around, as you guys know, and he was sick enough where he was losing a lot of fluid and contagious, and so we just kept him home, but he's doing a lot better now.
Steve.
What? First of all, it wasn't just Atlanta. He started missing games way back in Boston.
Yeah,
and the Celtics organization is so good at preventing leaks in terms of information from coming out of that organization. And the Warriors aren't necessarily bad at that either. Practice punch videos notwithstanding, but that was a little sussy to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe it's what I said. It's just a subjective opinion. He probably has an autoimmune disease. Maybe they've discovered recently it's not POTS. It's a different one. These things are hard to diagnose. And so maybe the diagnosis changed. If you notice, Steve Kerr didn't say what he actually has. He just said he didn't have POTS. And then he said the reasons he was out earlier, which were, I think, a bodily injury, are not the reasons he's out now, which is a general illness. And maybe that's true. Doesn't mean he doesn't have an autoimmune disease. But I just want to say, again, the Warriors are effing irrelevant. And it doesn't matter if Porzingis is fully fucking healthy. He's not the same player he was 5 years ago. And even the player he was 5 years ago, he was not good on the Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference. So they're just selling you hope. That's what that conversation's about. It's just selling you investment in the team to make a run, to have some, quote, fun in the playoffs. Last week, Anthony Slater reported that he has heard from people who are in and around Steph Curry that the goal of this season is just to have some fun in the playoffs. That's a quote from Anthony Slater. Everything I'm telling you guys on this chat, in this thread, has been absolutely true and is just corroborated by the quotes. If you think they're going to make a deep run, you're just delusional. This is all it is just to have some fun so that the season ticket holders feel like they had some fun and that they re-up next year. That's a quote from the owner in the thing. This is the Stevie Kerr, Steph Curry vibe basketball era. There's no way around it.
I was trying to hear the follow-up of that episode to see if we missed anything. Like Willard, was it Willard? He was going like, "That's fast here." Let's listen to the rest of it just for a second, because And I want to. There's a couple other things I heard in that clip that I thought was very suspicious. Let's listen to that one more time because I'm still tripping out about this. Hold on.
And so that was.
Is it kind of under that umbrella, or was it just regular guy, regular sick?
You know, when I heard about the trade, I read about the POTS diagnosis, and then I called Anzi Sala, who was with us. He's now Atlanta's GM.
I'm gonna pause for 1 second there because that part alone is weird to me. So instead of asking your GM Mike Dunleavy Jr., who's in the building, whose number you also have, because undoubtedly Mike Dunleavy Jr. would have done that research for you. Right? I mean, you're not pulling the trigger on that trade without knowing exactly what is going on. Steve Kerr is also very close with Celebrini, who literally ran the physical for him. Why does Steve Kerr have to call the GM of the Hawks to get that information? Why can't Steve Kerr ask Porzingis himself for that information? I do you not find it peculiar that Steve Kerr's telling the public that he went to the Hawks GM for this info when the guy is on your team? You could ask him yourself when you have your own general manager who did his own research before pulling the trigger. Like, does that seem weird to you as well that he had to call the other team's GM to get that info when he has the player on his roster?
Yeah, man. I mean, he's the one that said that he doesn't participate in any front office management moves. He's got nothing to do with roster construction. You know, it was pretty funny. He choked back when he said, you know, when I heard about the trade, I called him. That was funny. That was a tell right there.
That was a tell.
He had to check himself when he said he was about to say when I made the trade.
Let's hear that again.
We're still trying to understand what the whole POTS thing is that Kristaps has dealt with before. So when he was sick this week, is it kind of under that umbrella, or was it just regular guy, regular sick?
You know, when I heard about the trade, I read about the POTS diagnosis, and then I called Anzi Sala, was
it just regular guy, regular sick?
You know, when I heard about the trade, I read about the POTS diagnosis, and then I called Anzi Sala, who was with us. He's now Atlanta's GM, and
right.
And he's a good friend of mine, and I called him. I said, "Is this POTS story real?" And he said, "It's actually not POTS. It was not POTS." And so that was some misinformation that was out there. I don't know if anybody's asked him about it, but bottom line is whatever was bothering him in Atlanta that was keeping him out had nothing to do with the illness last week. So
what about when he was with the Celtics? What about when he was with the Hawks and the injury report routinely cited illness for reasons why he's missing games? Is he always dealing with the flu? Does he have the 365 flu? What the hell is going on here?
He was just sick. You know, there's a lot going around, as you guys know, and he was sick enough where he, you know, was losing a lot of fluid and contagious, and so we just kept him home, but he's doing a lot better now.
Steve, that's fascinating. I think that's actually like a humongous development that people don't know. I almost like the first thought that kind of goes through my mind is almost like, why hasn't that been maybe sort of trumpeted even more? I think that would make Warrior fans feel great about his potential health going forward.
Feel better.
Well, I don't really know what's out there. I just know that, you know.
He just said he doesn't know what's out there. Previous sentence, he goes, I read up about him, and it said he had POTS. Now he's saying, I don't know what's out there. Dude, this is the most two-faced, two-sided I think I've ever seen Kerr in an interview, and that's saying something.
We had internal discussions, and and I've talked to Kristaps, and he told me he's feeling good, and
so you can talk to him about feeling good, but when you want the specifics of what's been ailing him for a year, that's off limits. You have to call his former team's GM to get that information, not your own GM, not your own head of medicine, Celebrini, but you have to go to the other team's GM. But you could perfectly have conversations with him about almost anything else. But God forbid you actually ask the direct source what the issue is.
We haven't gone into depth with his illness stuff, in Atlanta. But I got confirmation that it was not POTS, but it was something else that was really difficult to figure out. And that's sometimes the case, even in this modern age where we, have a lot of answers. We never have all of them. And sometimes there's just mysterious stuff.
Yeah, I mean.
So it is something else. He did. I don't know if that was an accidental slip or if he intended to say that. So it was something. So it is something else, because even like the nastiest bug is not going to keep a player out for a season and a half, or at least a season, which is what has happened to Kristaps Porziņģis. The end of his tenure with the Celtics had everything to do with this. And again, Shams Charania is not sitting here reporting lies, man. I mean, I'd love to get Shams' response to this. I hope someone gets to Shams and goes, "Hey, did you hear Steve Kerr call you a liar?" Because that's what he just did. He just literally called you a liar. That is crazy to me. I know this isn't a big thing in the grand scheme of the Warriors and game action, but it certainly does not make us look any worse for what we've been saying for years, that Steve Kerr is just media savant, master propagandist, all about preserving his own image. That's crazy to me. What do you think is going on here then, Armando? And what's your suspicion?
I just think he has Tracy said in the chat, whatever it is, it's a chronic autoimmune disease. Maybe it's not POTS specifically. That's how he's getting. He's putting this out there in order to sell the narrative that they're going to make a run. They're going to have some fun in the playoffs. And the real truth of the matter is, Cy, they just traded somebody who's about to be the best player in the Eastern Conference. And it's only a matter of time before the narrative catches up to it. Because the head coach was too lazy to do anything at all to integrate these guys. And because he was too lazy to integrate them, Draymond Green quit in November, and Jimmy Butler called it out in November, and they got hurt as a result. And now they're just selling vibes. They're selling the memory of winning.
It's nostalgia.
And people fall right into it because they're bubble fans and they don't watch how good the rest of the NBA is and how interchangeable these players are with G Leaguers. And it's a dereliction of duty. You are a business that signed a guy, an athletic apex predator wing who's got high IQ, who makes. Last night, Jonathan Kuminga made 4 elite pick and roll passes to their centers for wide open dunks, but they got some shitty centers over there, and they missed the dunks and layups. They got blocked. And my cousin Andres pointed out, those are the same passes he was making on the G League Ignite. And he's always been that guy. And the reality is they traded away an elite player because their coach is too lazy to do anything to integrate him, to do anything to the system to make it work. And I've been speaking on that since day one. This is a guy that played Anthony Lamb instead of developing him. This is a guy that played Klay Thompson, who was no longer a winning player, who led directly to losing over him. This is a guy that played Podziemski at small forward for years and years and years over him. This is a guy that made sure he was a power forward and didn't want to experiment, didn't want to let it play anything. It's a dereliction of duty. And, Warriors, it's just pure laziness. Like just utter laziness. It's an old man in a young man's game. We see that in a lot of professions, Si. Guys, you lose the hunger, you lose the fire. Once you won, you're not hustling for the next thing, man. You're just too lazy to do the hard work, to do the hard things, man. And that's why, like, the Phoenix Suns coach is doing good. That's why a lot of these coaches, because they're hustling, they haven't made it yet. They in the NBA, you got to befriend the next up guys. Draymond Green said, Jonathan Kuminga is the next man up, and they traded his ass.
Steph said that. That's one of the Steph literally said that. Toussaint in the chat, and Toussaint, earlier you dropped the $4.99 chat, but then didn't follow it with anything. If it's just a donation in general, thank you sincerely. I did see you follow up a short while later, writing this, saying not talking to Celebrini about this is wild. Agreed. Like, why are you calling the old GM about this, allegedly, and not talking to your own doctor? You talk to every day, all day. Like, and again, if you're the host interviewing him, this goes back to the whole sycophant thing, the whole ass kissing thing. Why are you not following up with these questions? Like, that's where they failed colossally. You have folks then like NKNK who bring up a guy who technically, I don't know what you call him, a fanboy who's on YouTube every once in a while and who's on Twitter saying, Jim Park at least could see the good. These dudes only look for the worst. What this person's basically saying is that we're just negative Nancy's. And NKNK, two things. One, I hope you realize again that Jim Park was a Kings fan, Sacramento Kings fan, until Stephen Curry started revealing his Hall of Fame talents in 2012, 2013. And then he switched allegiances because that's what bandwagoners do. So congrats on following a bandwagoner who doesn't know shit about anything, has no journalistic credentials, who's just a Twitter fanboy that because he says such outlandish things has garnered attention. But maybe more importantly than Jim Park, what is the positive here? What do you want us to cheerlead about? That they're the 8th seed, 2 or 3 games above 500? Yay! What are we supposed to hype up here, man? Like, what are you looking for positive coverage? Never mind the fact that you're revealing your own utter ignorance, pretending that just a rando on the street who's on YouTube. And side note, that is probably the worst part about YouTube, that anybody can do it. Certainly reduces the prestige of people who have actually been trying their damn best to establish some credibility of their own, journalistically speaking. You have schmoes on YouTube like Jim Park that you now have to like actually counter, which is insane. But again, NK, what the hell do you want us to talk about? What is so great that we're missing here? Sorry. Again, you have every other show blowing smoke up your ass about how the Warriors are still amazing, despite all the malfeasance and all the neglect and all the ineptness. I don't get that. I don't get people like you, NK. Another post with ignorance. K-Boss saying Franz Wagner is better than Kuminga. What? Based on what? Steve Kerr's opinion? What would you base that on? The only difference between Franz Wagner and Kuminga is opportunity. Per 36, Kuminga has better numbers. We're quickly seeing through just 2 games, and this is going to be a pattern that holds. I'm confident of that Kuminga is going to start putting up better numbers than Franz soon. What makes you think Franz Wagner is better? If he was so good, don't you think the Magic would be better than a 500 team? He's surrounded by Paolo Banchero. Now he's got Desmond Bane. Now he's got Jalen Suggs. I'm missing at least 1 or 2 other great players on that team. Anthony Black. And they're a 500 team. If Franz Wagner was so good, why are they a 500 team in his 5th year? A lot of ignorance out there. Also want to address real fast the Eddie 757 saying James Wiseman had bricks for hands. That was his Achilles. Very important caveat here to add. He didn't have bricks for hands his rookie year. That is a condition which he developed playing for Steve Kerr, because Kerr shot his confidence. Kerr did nothing to develop him, to improve him as an individual or a player. And because the confidence started to wane and he started getting in his head because of the lack of confidence being instilled in him from the coaching staff, then he started the hand issue in year 2. Very important a side note when it comes to the James Wiseman story. Would you agree with that, Armando, or no?
No, I already said earlier when I spoke on James Wiseman, I totally disagree with that. It's the opposite. He had bricks for hands from day one, and Steve Kerr actually believed in him. He started him, and he declared on day one of the opening season that James Wiseman was going to be an MVP. And he was the one player that he actually invested in minutes, and it's another sign of Steve Kerr's bad talent evaluation. I think people get that totally backwards. So
but you didn't see that. You remember him having fumbling issues his rookie season? Because I don't.
No, we called it in the preseason. The Cousins, we said James Wiseman, low defensive IQ. He plays small defensively, bad hands. And then the next day, Steve Kerr said, this guy is a future MVP. He's a starter for us. He's going to start. And his rookie season, if you don't remember, he's averaged like 15 or 20 until he got hurt. And
he averaged 11.5 points per game and about 6 rebounds per game. Shot about 31% from 3. But they weren't bad numbers, and those were in limited minutes. I thought he was playing okay his rookie year, honestly.
He got a lot of run, and it was in stark contrast to the way that Jonathan Kuminga was treated. Basically, Steve Kerr invested a ton of minutes into James Wiseman, and it realized James Wiseman wasn't that good. So when they got Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Steve Kerr put him at the end of the bench and played Anthony Lamb. It's all connected. It's all connected to bad talent evaluation. So I would love to get beyond the Porzingis injured or not. It's just a terrible move. The Warriors are irrelevant. I want to talk about next year and the salary conditions that this team has.
Well, let's do that. And I know you got your list of items to touch. We'll do really quickly here before we shift to next year, because I haven't even had a chance to play this soundbite yet. The Porzingis thing, you're right. It really distracted us from what we planned on discussing at length. But I want to really quickly play this clip. This is Quinn Schneider, the head coach of the Atlanta Hawks. And then we'll move on to the future. But this clip is to me vitally important in terms of getting perspective on the whole situation involving mishandling very prized products and assets for an NBA team. In this case, we've heard all the rhetoric from Steve Kerr pertaining to Jonathan Kuminga, just bungled that whole situation. Again, Kerr has zero eye for talent, has never developed a single basketball player. The only player he has invested in to develop, Brandon Podziemski, is average at best, maybe someday. And so Jonathan Kuminga goes over to the Atlanta Hawks. Trade's completed. He's now moved on. But damn, is there egg on the faces of the Warriors brass already? Because in the 2 games that he's played for the Hawks, he's looked good. First game, 24 minutes, 27 points, 9 of 12 from the field, 3 of 4 from deep, added, I think, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. And then he follows that up with a game where Corey Kispert went off. But in that game, played 30 minutes, 17 points, 9 boards. And in his first 2 games, he's 4 of 7 shooting from beyond the arc. It's just been an absolute success story. Atlanta already loves this kid. And this is just the beginning of how bad this trade's going to look. But when you hear Quinn Schneider, a man who has dedicated a lot of his life to coaching, unlike Steve Kerr, who just was handed this position on a silver platter after having 0 coaching experience his entire life, Quinn Schneider, you could safely argue, has earned it. Hell, he even went at one point in his coaching career over to Moscow, was coaching in Russia for a little bit. The dude has perspective. The dude is a Mike Krzyzewski, a disciple, and he was asked after the second game what his thoughts were about Kuminga, and I thought his answer was very revealing because there's a stark contrast from my perspective, again, between what we've heard from Steve Kerr routinely and what you're going to listen to now from the new head coach, not new head coach, but Jonathan Kuminga's new head coach, the man who leads the Atlanta Hawks, Quinn Schneider. This was him following Kuminga's second game, I think just last night. Here is Quinn Schneider, head coach of the Atlanta Hawks, talking about Jonathan Kuminga.
Coach, this was Jonathan Kuminga's second game for your team. What have you seen from him tonight in terms of fitting into your offensive system and getting on the same page on the defensive end with his teammate?
Yeah, the thing that's impressed me as much as anything. It's just, his work, and you saw that previous to him getting healthy, and I think that's carried over. There's some plays defensively where I think his strength stands out, and he's been focused. He lost it out of bounds, but a big play out of timeout. I thought we needed to dig in. He did a really good job just denying an entry pass, and he almost had a dunk. So that to me is more impressive than the actual dunk. I know he can dunk. So, those little things on the defensive end, he can be impactful. And then I think he's really focused on moving the ball and being unselfish. I thought he made a couple passes tonight that were, really impressive, just looking a guy off and seeing the court. And I think as he plays more and more, he's going to be more and more instinctive, particularly in the open court.
So basically, according to his new head coach, he's a good passer, he's a good defender, he's a good team guy, he listens. The complete opposite of all the bullshit rhetoric we've heard from Steve Kerr. Armando, what was your reaction when you first heard that, and what's your reaction now, if it's any different?
Oh, a few reactions, man. It was such a damn pleasure to watch the Hawks broadcast, and to see people actually evaluate what's going on the floor and explain it. We literally had to pause it, chat, when the Hawks announcers said, get Jonathan Kuminga the ball as a positive. Then they said, Jonathan Kuminga, or Dominique literally choked up, almost like crying. He said, dude, that kind of reminds me of young me. And then he said, then they made fun of Steve Kerr. They said, what was Steve Kerr thinking? And they laughed on air. And then the main Hawks announcer, he said, only thing you needed was a little Southern hospitality.
Who said that? Wilkins? Dominique? Isn't Dominique Wilkins the color analyst for the Hawks? Maybe I'm mistaken. I thought he was. Yeah,
he is. Yeah.
So Dominique, one of the game's all-time greats, was saying that about Kuminga.
Oh yeah, he was like, oh man. And then what I saw, what Quinn Snyder's saying and what he's seeing is that whole team is being transformed by Jonathan Kuminga's presence. All the light years people, they said Jonathan Kuminga, he was being a Sean Marion on there. No, they didn't watch. Then they admitted that they didn't watch the game. Jonathan Kuminga was a floor general. And that guy is literally telling people where to be on the floor. And he is making, he's saying, no, I don't want the ball. Get into a pick and roll, because that's the soft spot on the defense. And they're doing it, and he's plus, this is when the net rating matters, because you can actually watch it on the floor happening. And they were playing a really, really bad team, but that team was trying hard to win on the second game. It got a little testy, which was fun. We actually like the baseball series where the teams play back to back, because they can get a little testy. They start to get to know each other a little bit. There's a scouting, and but it's good practice for the Hawks, because the Hawks, that team has been up and they transformed twice now. And Kuminga, that guy, Sai, he's making passes to elevate his teams. I have no doubt that Rusheshe, the number one draft pick from last year, is going to actually improve. They're looking up to Jonathan Kuminga, how to play harder defense. And Jonathan Kuminga, in that first half, he took his time and he was just feeding people and just playing D. And then at the end of the second quarter, he's like, you know what? It's my time. He gets to the line 3 times in a row. And then he turns it on in the end of the third quarter to blow it up. And, it's a type of player that it was such a pleasure to see him get extended minutes, because he's a freaking star, and he could feel the game. He could feel the game, lean into it, see what it needed, and then turn it on when he needed to. Not just get out there and play just feed Steph Curry, feed Steph Curry, feed Steph Curry, feed Steph Curry. Oh, Steph Curry's injured. Totally different scenario, and it was such a pleasure. And Sai, I wanted to say one more thing, because you said about in the chat, people are saying that Atlanta loves him, And I just want to get this out before we move on. And I'll speak. We'll be speaking on this chat on Saturday. Me and Evanistics are going to post an extended discussion about Jonathan Kuminga's first 2 games, which is great. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about everything the Warriors are doing. But the one thing that the Warriors fumbled, Cy, is Jonathan Kuminga is about to be a global superstar, and on the Atlantic side of the world. And there are a lot of wealthy, educated Africans living in global cities. There's a lot of educated, cool, wealthy Africans living in Paris, living in London, living in Vienna, living in New York City, living in Atlanta, living on the Atlantic coast. And I'm telling you, Cy, this is a prediction right here, chat. This is a prediction. Jonathan Kuminga is going to have a contract with either Adidas or Nike very soon, once they do a little playoff run. And Steph Curry will have that shitty knockoff Anta brand in China. Okay, that's the scenario that we're about to come through on. Adidas has connections in Africa because of soccer. I'm telling you, this is final point. Aaron Turner is the effing man. Everybody's got it wrong. Talking about he's a bad agent. He fucking got his player off that shitty burning ship of a franchise onto literally, I cannot think of a better situation for Jonathan Kuminga than the Atlanta Hawks. This is a team that is in the East, the easy, shitty ass East, where LeBron could make the finals 9 times in a row or something like that. And then not only that, it's a team that's actually trying to win. It's actually trying to win. And they could have been on the Bucks trying to lose, could have been on these other teams. Not only that, this is a team that seems to get it. They got off, and you made a point, Cyrus, earlier today that in 2026, point guards are passé. You can't play shitty small guards that don't play defense. Ja Morant, no trade value. Trae Young, no trade value. Porzingis, going to be out the league soon. Don't matter how many fucking threes he hits against a trap game. And they traded his ass. That was a franchise player that they traded for a real player, in the guy on the Lakers. I'm having a brain fart. Luka, and that's embarrassing. And they got off that, and they're investing in wings. And not only that, Cy, not only is it a team in the East, not only is it a team that's trying to win in the East, and not only is it a team that understands the importance of wings in 2026, they are going to have a top 4 pick in this year's draft. And that means I predict the thing to watch with the Atlanta Hawks is if they have a draft pick that is better than the Utah Jazz are going to want to trade up. And that means the Hawks are going to be able to trade down and get either Triple J, or they're going to get 2 picks as a result of that, because the Utah needs to get the kid from BYU because the owner's paying that family $10 million a year. Okay. So the Hawks are this is the best position. Kuminga is going to be a global superstar very soon. The narrative, I've always said on this show, this is the NBA. It takes 18 months for narratives to catch up to reality. And right now, the narrative is slowly catching up. The Warriors are NBA irrelevant, and it's coming.
Yeah. A few chat posts, and then we'll get to the email you sent me with some topics. This guy Arnold, who also tries trolling me on Threads, writing, "Are you guys even Warriors fans? You complain so much about the Warriors." Arnold, I'd say fans like us who call out the incompetency and call out the egregious mistakes are far more effective and far better fans than cheerleaders like you, who are exactly what front offices dream of. People are just suckers and willing to give up their money and time and attention, regardless of the quality of the product, regardless of how the organization is being run. You're a sucker. Congratulations. Like, if every fan was like you, the Warriors would probably be like the Wizards. What is the incentive if fans don't complain? You like when fans stop showing up, when fans stop paying attention, when fans critique, that is the fire that lights under an organization to make change. If people acted like you, complacent, just raw 24/7, they do nothing. We just get more of this mediocrity. 8 seeds. Brandon Podziemski getting the most minutes. And again, for the upteenth time, Arnold, every other show out there gives you exactly what you're looking for. Just everything's rosy. Everything's fine. The Warriors are the best. F. Kuminga. Steve Kerr's the golden god. Stephen Curry, even though he's going to be 39 a year from now and is already pretty much done. I mean, who knows when we're going to see him again with runner's knee. But you keep on pretending that Steph is still in his prime and the Warriors are still title contenders. Jesus effing Christ, man. We've heard you the first 100 times. You don't like the complaining. Fine. Go somewhere else. No one is forcing you to watch this. Or maybe you could not be such a dunce and realize, oh, yeah, the team that I love, there's a lot of shit going on here that stinks to high heaven. And there needs to be some serious change here instead of this status quo bullshit, which for 4 years now has represented a colossally disappointing product. Choice is yours, but you're complaining, side note, as well. So you're a hypocrite and you're the complacent dummy that the team loves. What does that say about you? And then the other side of this is a guy like Toussaint, who says Warriors fans who tell the truth need to be celebrated. Thank you. That's all we're trying to do here is just tell the truth. And the truth right now is ugly. Yeah, Armando.
Sai, can you play my Simpsons clip, my new Simpsons clip?
Well, I don't have it queued up because I'm going to make a whole open with it. I just didn't get a chance to do it today. I think I actually have the link right here. Hold on. Yes, I'll play
8 seconds. Because it fits perfectly with this last 2 quotes you just said. Chat, you guys remember my other Simpsons clip with where Homer's being sarcastic and he's the lollipop land, gumdrop lane news. That's not what this is real. This is the Homer Simpson that me and my cousins are right here, man. And I'm gonna make a new talk, man.
For every one of your weekly shows, we're going to, in the near future, start the show. I'm going to do some production work and turn this into an open. But this is what you're talking about pertaining to Homer fans who just eat up everything the team sells.
This bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
Homer, watch your mouth.
I got to go. My damn wiener kids are listening.
We are not wieners.
And what are you dressed like that for?
They made us.
Oh, they made us. That's loser talk. You got to start acting more like me and my team. The future league champions of the world. Nothing's going to stop us now.
Stop everything.
Joel Lakem at the end. You send me a list of topics I want to get to before we start to wrap it up. Side note, Urquidez family, this is pure comedy. Writing Magic Monday, baby, referring to the fact that the Atlanta Hawks are officially in a paid partnership with Magic City, a strip club in Atlanta, following last night's Amazon Prime coverage of the NBA, the post-game crew, Taylor Rooks, who else is on that? Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, Blake Griffin. They actually touched on the subject for a second. Taylor Rooks was apparently from Georgia, saying she's been there. She called it, I believe, a rite of passage for Georgians. And then the reaction from the 3 players was the funniest because Taylor Rooks turns to Griffin, Nash, and Nowitzki and goes, "Have you guys ever been?" And all 3 of them are like, "No, I've never been there. I don't." I've heard about it. I hear that, and they were all feigning, right? Like it was so obvious that they were bullshitting, man. Dude, Magic City is an NBA players hangout, home away from home. It's absolutely comedy. But it's also true that the Atlanta Hawks are actually doing this. In my opinion, the best strip club in San Francisco is the Gold Club. You're welcome for the free advertising. There's a couple of really good ones on Broadway too. And side note, I haven't been to a strip club in years, but if these establishments still exist, I remember them being the primo top, kings of the mountain clubs with some class attached to it. And we'll sponsor you. I should, it just occurred to me, like, why am I not hitting these places up for sponsorships? Hell, we could be doing watch parties there. What have I been doing? This show's been on for a year and a half. I'm just now thinking about this. That's on me. This is the first time I'm gonna play this soundbite toward myself. Hey, Cy.
Fuck you.
Yeah, because that's my bad. I totally dropped the ball on that. I need to do what the Atlanta Hawks are doing and be business individuals and reach out to the types of organizations that are recession-proof. You're going to hear from me soon, showgirls. Gold Club. I think I still have your number. I'm going to call you. Tracy McKinnon going, no! And the G4M, yeah, gentlemen's clubs, please, not strip clubs. Absolutely right. And I think Gold Club will be considered to be more of a classy gentleman's club. This is the list. Let me see if there's any other chats real quick that I should get to. NKNK, speaking of negative Nancy's, I love when people call us negative and then all they do is respond with negativity, saying that Jonathan Kuminga's 2 games were against the Wizards, basically saying chill. And I look, I'm cool with that rhetoric. I get it. We do need to see a much larger sample size from Kuminga before we can safely come to a conclusion that the Warriors colossally effed this up. But I will like to add, or at least retort, to folks like NKNK. I hope you were saying the same thing in the 2 stretches of the Jimmy Butler era that were successful. One was when the Warriors first traded for him, and they finished last season, I think 23-7 or something like that. That was those 30 games. Like the Warriors' schedule last year was set up so the final 30 games represented by far the easiest stretch of the schedule. So that included Wizards, Nets, whole bunch of Eastern Conference teams, Kings from the West, Jazz, and then this season, the stretch of games where all of a sudden people felt optimistic and good was that it was like 11 straight games in California, 10 of 11 at Chase Center, and again the opposition was the Wizards, Mavericks, Nets. I just hope folks like you were not bragging about the Warriors being so damn good while Kuminga was being DNP night after night, because they were also beating those types of teams. So make sure you have that same perspective and bring forth that same relativity. If you're going to brag about Steve Kerr and what he was doing while Kuminga was getting DNP'd, because all the success the Warriors experienced without Kuminga these last 2 years came against opponents like that. So if you're going to hate on Kuminga, I sure as shit hope you were not cheerleading for Steve Kerr at the same time when his team, with Kuminga being DNP'd on the bench, was posting winning records. It was only in the stretch of games on the schedule that was anemic, that was straight up awful. So I just wanted to add that.
Great point, Cy. That's a great point. And
real quick, hey chat, La Pita Realidad. You speak fluent Spanish, right? How do you pronounce La Puta Realidad? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Anyways, writes, Ty Jerome is an offensive beast. Admit it already. Armando, do you know how many games Ty Jerome has played this year? I do, but I'm curious to know if you want to take a guess.
No, I wanted to say that was a great point you just made.
Thanks,
about, the fact that the Warriors have been playing teams like the Wizards, and that's the only team they're winning against is tanky teams. And I also wanted to point out one more thing about that side. That's the entire Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference is trash.
Yeah.
And the West, that's what I said about the go home in a body bag program. It's based on the fact that the Warriors are in the West. That's you have to acknowledge literally.
Well, I wanted to say, and I don't know if this post is just trying to be a facetious, like it's a sarcastic joke, but Ty Jerome's only played in 8 games this year. So in case you're being serious with an 8-game sample size, yeah, he's been posting up decent numbers on a tanking Grizzlies team. But I'm not going to jump to the conclusion that it means anything. You sent me this email, and you said these talking points are from your cousin?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So here's what your cousin wrote that we're going to touch on really quickly, and we'll start trying to wrap it up after this. Your cousin wrote, the Warriors are in worse shape than anybody is talking about. Look at their roster and cap sheet for next year. And then he follows that up with Stephen Curry, who's set to make $62 million next year, and he's going to be turning 39. Jimmy Butler is set to make $57 million next year, coming off a torn ACL. He's going to be 37 before the season even starts. Draymond Green, if he exercises his player option, and that could be, side note, an interesting storyline there, because I don't know if it's 100% certain that Draymond Green will exercise that final year. He might opt out and be an unrestricted free agent. If he's going to do it, there might still be some demand this offseason. Side note, anyways, if he opts into his player option, it's for $28 million. He's going to be 37 years old next year. Moses Moody's going to earn $12 million next year. Al Horford, who's going to be 40, will make $6 million next year. Brandon Podziemski is going to make $6 million in his year four of his rookie deal. Will Richard is going to make $2 million. Will Richard is on one of the best contracts imaginable. We talked about that just the other day. Will Richard is under contract, for folks who don't know, through 2029, making $2 million a year. Mike Dunleavy Jr. has some wins under his belt, even though I'm starting to really give up on him. So what your cousin is writing essentially is that there is $173 million already committed to only 7 guys. Now, what he adds is that your cousin writes there's approximately 20 to 30 million left to build out a roster. That's not true. Here's how the salary cap works. The cap itself, at least this year, was around, I think, 155 million. And so next year, that's probably going to go up to about 165. The Warriors are already over the cap. That's why, a lot of these deals, I just, it's one of those things where it's like they're egregious amounts of money, but the Warriors are so screwed already that, Draymond's contract, for example, I don't know if that's like the worst thing in the world. Maybe it is, but what I'm trying to say here is that with that roster, the only flexibility the Warriors will have is a mid-level exception. And this last year, I think that it was for around 14 or 15 million is what you could offer. And you could split that up, by the way, between 2 players. And then I think you might be eligible for one more exception that I think is good for 3 or 5 million. Don't quote me on that. But that's what your cousin brings up. DeAnthony Melton will be available. I hope the Warriors bring him back. Pingus Zingas, your cousin called him Zingas, saying not worth re-signing, hell to the no, POTS or whatever the hell he's dealing with. Guy Santos will be a restricted free agent. Pat Spencer will be a restricted free agent. Quentin Post will be a restricted free agent. Will they play for minimum deals? Yeah, I don't think they're going to have a choice. So that's the layout for next season. Your thoughts?
If we think that $173 million is going to carry this team, Giannis, Kawhi Leonard, or not, to an NBA title, you are completely delusional. They're selling you tickets. 39-year-old Steph, 37-year-old coming off an ACL injury, and Draymond Green, who started the podcasting career in earnest, are not your heroes in 2027, 2026. The league moves fast, baby. The league moves fast. What have you done for me lately?
Mm-hmm.
And that you had a guy with the username, the Pura Realidad. That is, basically the real translation is the hard truth. And that's what it is about being a real fan, is can you come to the hard truth of the reality of the situation? It doesn't mean you're not going to be rooting for this team to make good strategic long-term decisions. I want this team to be good for years. And I said this last week. The fans that want to trade 10 draft picks to get 39-year-old Steph Curry, 35 minutes a game, 50 points a night, strategy ball, that want to uplift that, they're the fans that are actually going to leave when he retires. They want him to stay relevant because they got nothing else going on and they're not real fans of this team. If you're a real fan of this team, you face the hard truth that he's not a number one option on a playoff team in 2026 anymore. He's not going to give you 82 games, and he's not playing 4 rounds of playoffs, and Jimmy Butler was inevitably going to get injured because the way he scores his points was by foul grifting and letting guys undercut him. And if you don't face that hard truth, you don't realize they need to pivot and they need to find a way to get into the elite drafts coming up, then you're not a real fan and you're not going to be here when Steph Curry's gone. So that's what I have to say about that. I don't really want to talk anymore about no fucking irrelevant Warriors franchise. The jury's out, Cy. The bailiff is in. Lacob, everybody, they got lucky with the draft picks. They're not going to be able to turn it around. The moment they traded Jonathan Kuminga, future star, irrelevancy. They got lucky with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steve Kerr is less of a coach and more like a caddy.
Yeah.
And they got lucky. They got lightning in a bottle. They couldn't do it twice. NBA irrelevancy, man.
Armando, do you mind facing some heat for a second? And maybe it won't feel hot to you at all, but it's a comment directed toward you, and there's nothing personal in it, but it's basketball related. Are you up for it or no? I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, I got a few more minutes. Yeah.
Steph the GOAT writes, will your co-host take his L on the Al Horford take? Horford's been a solid player for us since he came back from injury. Your thoughts?
They are a loser team, and they are beating the Memphis Grizzlies. And if you don't watch the rest of the league, you don't realize that everybody in the league can shoot. This guy's interchangeable with G Leaguers.
Yep.
And no, I'm not going to take the L. I'm going to take the win. And the regular season is an entirely different sport than the playoffs. If this guy sees a moment of real basketball, real intensity basketball, it ain't going to be like that.
Yeah.
And we already know this with pods. I don't know why people are still talking about with pods. And I bring up pods because it's the same reason why I know about Horford. Last year in the playoffs, last regular season against tanking teams, pods looked great. But when the playoffs came, he shot like shit. Because the intensity's so hard, your legs go out from underneath the out. I was out. Mm-hmm. I didn't need to see anything more. I saw Horford in last year's playoffs. People act like Horford's been hooping for years and he contributed to that title. No, man. Nah. He was absolutely irrelevant in last year's playoffs. The New York Knicks were leaving him open on purpose. And I spoke on this in July. It is coming for him. If they even make the first round, it's coming for him. So, no, I won't take no L. And next time you want to come on here and disagree with me, get your real name on there and put your face on it. That's what I'll take. That's when I'll engage it even more. So
yeah, I have such a disdain for anonymity when you're using that anonymity to levy personal attacks. It's like, come on, put a name to the handle. Otherwise, you're no different than the folks who are wearing masks, protesting, being a federal agent. Like, just stop hiding. Stop being just a massive cowardly biatch. Tracy McKendall in our chat is asking, can you tell me again how to watch Hawks games without League Pass? The way I always do it, because I don't have League Pass either, but I do get curious and end up watching a lot of different games on my phone if I'm just bored or whatever. Just Google the game, right? So for example, if it's Hawks and who did the Hawks play next? Let me look up the schedule here really quickly. Well, okay, let's say it's the Warriors and the Lakers on Saturday, and it's not a nationally televised game. The way I do it is I just search Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers. I just put all that into my search engine, and then maybe after that add free stream. It's not going to come up on page 1. Might not come up on page 2, but you keep going down the list, and you're going to start seeing certain links show up from websites, that resemble names like Stream East. I think that's a name that typically rings true for hacked signals. And again, you're taking risks. I would strongly advise using an iPhone or an Apple product to watch these games, so that all the malware and crap that these feeds are likely infecting your device with doesn't take control of your PC. So I'd go the Apple route. That's just me. But a simple search engine's application should turn up the game. Armando, anything to add to that for folks who want to see games?
In case people haven't checked, League Pass right now is $80 for the rest of the season.
We can do that.
Just FYI, Tracy. And actually, if that's cost prohibitive, send me email. I'll help you out. Like,
wow.
I want real fans to be able to see what's going on over there. So, and it's very enjoyable. It's really, I spoke on the Hawks podcast. It's actually unbelievable to see Jonathan Kuminga play and the announcers just give him a straightforward compliment, not a backhanded compliment, not a, I wish you would do that more often, not a, if only he played that hard more often, and saying it every time he gets on the court. And then like literally just saying he is a tremendous passer. What a great rebounder. What a great IQ. This guy is a vet. He is a 23-year-old vet. That was a direct quote on the Hawks podcast. It is such a damn pleasure, man. I almost like shed a tear listening to that shit, man.
Hamza, whose name you've turned into a verb that we all use now. It's generic. You can't copyright it. The Hamzas of the world, the OG right there, saying respectfully. And look, as long as you say respectfully, you can you can follow that with pretty much whatever you want. For example, Armando. Oh, no, I don't want to do this with you, Armando. Okay, Hamza, respectfully. I can't tell what gender you are, but I said it respectfully. And I've never seen you in real life, so hopefully you can't take that as a personal shot. And maybe that's a bad example. Point is, all you have to do is put respectfully in front of something. Hamza, respectfully. You're a dumb mother effer. But I said it respectfully. Respectfully, Hamza. You've got the IQ of a turtle. Respectfully. Respectfully, Hamza. You're never going to make more than a beggar on the streets. Respectfully. I'm coming up with awful examples for good respectfullys. These are not, I know these jokes aren't hitting. My bad. I failed on that front. Point is, Hamza respectfully is saying, Armando, that calling Kuminga the player in the East is rage bait. We don't know what the answer to that is ultimately. I don't agree that it's rage bait because I think, Armando, you're what you're saying in regards to Kuminga after these two games. I get it's the Wizards, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to watch these games and quickly come to a conclusion that JK can play, man. He's got a shitload of talent. All the negative accusations levied against them were utter bullshit from Steve Kerr apologists and folks who just are apparently deciding to die on the hill of ignorance instead of admit that maybe the Warriors screwed this one up colossally. I'm personally confident that when the opposition gets stiffer, you're still going to see Kuminga put up solid numbers. And also, one last thing, Kuminga's doing this without Jalen Johnson. I am riveted to see what the Hawks look like when Jalen's back and him and Kuminga are on the floor together, because Kuminga's doing this without the Hawks' best player. With the Hawks' best player and all the gravity that guy will get, dude, I don't think this is rage bait at all, Hamza. I really don't. Your thoughts, Armando?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Hamza, why you would think that. It's legitimate to think that. I think you should put your name on there and your face, though, if you want to disagree with me. But no, I'm just playing with you. But
no, we're playing with it. And again,
I want to address the point.
Yeah,
I want to address the point. It's not rage bait, Hamza, because it's what I believe. It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
He's
like,
not,
you're not saying it with the intention of annoying others. Like, you believe this.
Yeah. Like, it's based off a scouting report. And honestly, you don't have to listen to my predictions. It's a prediction that I said the narrative is going to catch up to reality. And the reality, as I believe it, this guy is pretty much already the best player in the East. It just hasn't been exposed yet. That's just based off scouting, man. Like, it's the same scout that I knew James Wiseman was going to be bad from the first preseason game I seen him. It's the same scout that I said Porzingis not a player. It's the same thing I said Al Horford is just not going to be ready because I had a scouting report on it, and it's just a take, man. And I truly believe it. It's just hasn't been revealed yet. It's just I've been right about a lot of things, and this is just what we think. We'll see, man. But
Exactly.
yeah, it was against a bad team, but we're noticing some things. We're noticing some things, and I just want to point out one more thing real quick, Si.
Take your
It
time.
wasn't just one game. Jonathan Kuminga has done this a lot of times. He's done it for 30 game stretches, and I've seen it. And
Yes.
so it's not surprising at all. Like, and now he's in the East. Like, I kind of like 2 + 2 = fucking 20. So, yeah.
Real quick check on the injury report for tomorrow's Warriors-Lakers game. Side note, the Hall of Famer Rick Barry is going to be at the game. He hasn't told me what the reasoning is. I told him I'm good on going. It's just anytime the Lakers are in town, bugging Raymond Ritter for a credential, suddenly I feel like I'm actually asking him for something, making him work. And I'm just not in the mood to drive all the way to the city to watch that game. With that said, the Hall of Famer is going to hopefully join us soon. He's going to be at that game tomorrow night. I don't know what the reasoning is for. But we will be live immediately following that, like we always are. Ryan Leong will join us for a bit following that game. And the injury report for Warriors-Lakers tomorrow night, the Lakers 3.5-point favorites, courtesy of the FanDuel Sportsbook. For the Lakers, only one player listed. That's Rui Hachimura, who is doubtful because of illness. That is an injury that would favor the Warriors if he doesn't play, because Rui typically feasts on the smaller Golden State Warriors. Now, the Warriors injury report, outside of the obvious, Stephen Curry's out, Jimmy Butler's out. One very disappointing development that has continued on this season has been the lack of LJ Cryer minutes. I would love to see this guy play. We finally saw Malachi Leons the other night, and huge surprise. A guy 6'9" with a huge wingspan was actually doing some great things out there. LJ Cryer can play basketball. The hamstring injury is healed, but he's not going to be playing for the Warriors tomorrow because he's going to be on assignment with Santa Cruz. The same cannot be said for the other new guy. What's his name? Nate Robinson, I think. And then Malachi Leons. Those two players may be active for the Warriors. I have no idea, but they're not listed on the injury report. LJ Cryer, again, will be playing for Santa Cruz. Seth Curry remains out. Draymond Green is probable because of the left lower back injury management. And then Kristaps Porziņģis is questionable with illness. And as Steve Kerr said, the illness is more traditional, I guess, the best way to describe that. And then if you're really passionate about Kuminga and his run with the Atlanta Hawks, they're back in action on Sunday at Portland. So that's a far stiffer test than the Washington Wizards. So we'll see how he does against the Portland team that, again, I think is far superior than the Wizards are. Two quick chats to wrap up the show here. The Eddie757 thinks that Draymond Green will take the $28 million next year. Nobody would offer him that as a free agent. We should have dealt him. I agree that no other team out there would offer him $28 million next year, but what I could see is another team out there offering him, say, 3 years, 45, right? So Draymond now is getting $17 million more approximately. Am I doing the math right? $17 million more approximately than the $28 million he's currently guaranteed. And maybe a team like, I don't know, the Lakers or a team that LeBron's going to could entice him to have maybe more of a relevant role instead of the coach he's turning into in games when Stephen Curry doesn't play. Armando, is there any inkling in your mind that Draymond could be gone after this year? Or do you think it's going to be as simple as him exercising that $28 million option and coming back?
I think he'll come back. I think Draymond's doing everything he can to stay within the good graces of the powers that be on the peninsula, the Silicon Valley tech bro vibe coding basketball. And because I think Draymond wants to be brought into the front office or the coaching staff. He's trying to not be too critical. He's kept his mouth shut all year pretty much. I want to know what you really think, Draymond. You need to get a burner account, Draymond. Come on, man. Come on, baby. Let us know
if he doesn't already.
Coach, brother.
If he doesn't already. I don't know. Maybe he does, but I love what
I'll
your
let
cousin
Draymond
said.
have it too. I'll rip on Draymond right now. The fuck, man.
And then one last chat that I highlighted. Where do those chats go? Here they are. This one from I'm a space cadet. I like that. Writing, I'm not a bandwagon fan and have loved the Warriors since I was a child. And I'm not going to say they are 1,000% crap because we have had a good run. Let's just keep some perspective. Okay, I don't. What fresh perspective are we missing? If what you're trying to say here is be grateful for the dynasty, my response to that is some of us don't appreciate underachievement at any stage. Was the dynasty unbelievable? Hell yes. Could they have been better? Yes, I strongly believe that. And what about the last 4 years? I guess I have a weird time accepting wasting years of people's lives just because an organization is in no rush to get back on the success train, right? We're talking like I heard like one of the 95.7 The Game guys, and I saw this in a tweet, was saying, well, maybe after next year the team can start rebuilding and looking for the next phase. I'm like, after next year, so you want us to give up another 18 months of our lives? Like time isn't the most precious commodity and just be patient watching this mediocre crap? Like what when did this become acceptable? I've seen this in sports my whole life, and it's one of the most irritating things ever. Just pretending years of our lives are not a big deal. Bull effing shit, man. Life is short. Stop wasting our goddamn time. Take some action. And I guess watching an owner like Eddie DeBartolo with the Niners, where he was no nonsense, he treated his players like family. All of his ex-players remained loyal to him, but he was also very straight. He wanted to win. That's all he cared about. When Joe Montana's time was up, even though Joe didn't agree, he traded his ass. Bill Walsh and him butted heads routinely. I'm guessing Eddie D would have fired his ass if Bill Walsh did not retire first. Jerry Rice, Ronnie Lott, the list goes on and on. He was not afraid to turn the page sooner than later to sustain greatness. And if I got spoiled from that, so be it. But I also saw the recipe, the formula for success. It exists. It is on paper. The evidence is there. All you have to do is keep striving for it instead of settling for nostalgia like this damn team is doing now. I hate the nostalgia angle. I loathe teams milking nostalgia for business purposes without any focus on the present and winning now. That shit drives me insane, if for no other reason, because I know that organization can do a hell of a lot better than what they're doing now. F your nostalgia, man. I'm about the present. I'm about the future. The past happened. It was great. Thanks for the memories. What's next? That's what sports is. What's next? That's what business is. What's next? What have you done for me lately? But the amount of sports teams that just go, oh, maybe in 18 months we'll do something different. 18 months? And the worst part is you have so many fans out there who are just happily bending over and taking it instead of speaking up. And those fans are the ones in our chat going, dude, you're too negative. Dude, you complain too much. No, you're too complacent. No, you're too soft and willing to be abused in any form of business transaction. Case in point, your fandom of the Warriors. You're willing to keep wasting money on a product that is clearly underperforming, clearly underachieving, and is going nowhere fast. I even hear from like fans every once in a while go, dude, Cy, I've been a Warriors fan since like the early 80s, man. I was rooting for this team when Joe Barry Carroll was the center. And I don't appreciate your criticism. And my response to that always is, dude, so you're old enough to remember Nelly's small ball bullshit and Steve Kerr small ball bullshit doesn't trigger you? How is that possible? If you grew up watching small ball, that shit drove you insane if you knew hoops. And we're seeing it again. I mean, I don't. That's the part I don't get. I don't know, Armando. Should I be more grateful for things that happened in the past and just sit back and be a complacent little bitch? Is that what I should be ultimately? Like, I don't get what's going on here sometimes when it comes to people's attitudes and just accepting mediocrity. Not me. Just I'm never gonna roll like that. And I'm sorry. And I think I'm justified saying all that. Anyways, your final thoughts.
Homer Simpson said, it's loser talk. And
it is,
dude. On that quote, that if you could pull it back up, there's no the conjunction. I'm not gonna say that we're 1,000% crap because we have had past tense a good run. Like, those things are not mutually exclusive. You can say
Exactly.
you are 1000% crap right now, which is what I'm saying. You are NBA basketball fucking relevant, and you had a good run. Those things, how are those things not incompatible? You had a good run, and now you are 1000% irrelevant.
Yeah. They are, man. Like all they're doing right now is milking Steph. Is just milking this nostalgia. This is, again, I've said this before.
Steph is going to be irrelevant in 3 years. Ain't nobody going to give a shit about Steph, and ain't nobody going to give a shit about Steve Kerr in 3 years.
Exactly.
Ain't nobody going to care. Just like they don't care about Tim Duncan, and just like they don't care about Popovich. Who is the next man up?
And Popovich, by the way, was willing to adjust his system based on the talent. Do not forget what he did to change the style of that team when suddenly DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge were his two best players. You suddenly saw pick and rolls left and right. And those Spurs teams were still damn good. Or even acquiescing for Kawhi Leonard, who sometimes needed to run the ISO, who sometimes needed some special treatment and leeway with minutes, man. That is where, to me, it went wrong with the Kerr experiment. Where Popovich understood, like, different players need different treatment, different human beings have different perspectives, so you can't have just a blanket, broad stroke treatment with everyone when you're teaching, when you're coaching. I'm sure you know that as a professor at Berkeley. It doesn't work that way. It is not an effective style of leadership. And Popovich knew that as well. And he got enough out of Kawhi Leonard to get a 5th championship and was still rolling out successful teams when they had to trade Kawhi and had DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. Those teams were still good because he adjusted, but not Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's just like, nope, my way or the highway.
They didn't make the playoffs for 8 years. And now,
and then they didn't, yeah.
cares.
And then they went to shit.
And they had to tank to get Wemby, so I don't know what the deal is. So I got to Bren though.
We're done, brother. Again, people can if they want subscribe to your channel. It's called Sprewell Was Right. We're not telling you to do that. Armando doesn't want your subscription, doesn't want your love, but if you want to watch it, you can. It's on YouTube. It's called Sprewell Was Right. Yeah.
No, I'm getting hyped. Sprewell Was Right.
And so Sprewell Was Right is on YouTube. Subscribe to that. You can follow Armando Lara on Twitter at Armando Lara M as in Mary. They can follow you on Threads at Mando_man_10. I hope I got that right. Or no, it's Mando_man10. Again, and you can follow me on all the socials. Follow the program, maybe most importantly, at Golden Days Pod. And we're back tomorrow night. I think we're done. Is anything else you want to add?
I want to plug that tomorrow afternoon, we'll schedule it so you guys know, for our 58 subscribers. Me and Evan, who was on the show this week with Cyrus,
yes,
we are gonna discuss in depth the Hawks and Jonathan Kuminga and what we see going on over there. And I teased a little bit of it today, but boy, oh boy, are we hyped! And we'll post the time so you guys can get in the live chat. Only the 58, Prime 58, and yeah, we're hyped, man. And the only thing, talk about Sprewell Was Right. The only thing Jonathan Kuminga and Aaron Turner fucked up on, they did everything else perfectly. They got his ass out of the burning ship, the irrelevancy. The only thing they fucked up on is Jonathan Kuminga punked out and did not choke that effing coach when he put his hands on him. Should have slapped the shit out of him when he touched him, man. That's the only thing Jonathan Kuminga didn't do, man. That's it.
Yeah, shame. JJ Lee, before we go, $4.99 donation. Thank you. We got you in just in time, saying basketball as a whole right now is milking nostalgia. The Nike Jordan brand milking retros, but no new iconic designs. The NBA right now is not creating iconic moments. I mean, look, Wemby is on the cusp of being that guy. I love Cade Cunningham. I love Anthony Edwards. I do think that Cooper Flagg, I know you and I disagree on that, but I do think Cooper Flagg is the future of the NBA, and he is going to be something damn special. Darren Peterson of Kansas. We can have a debate about all the DNPs because of cramping or whatnot, but when he plays, my Lord, does that kid have talent. I know you want him to go number one, and if the Warriors get that pick, Hallelujah. Again, I just hope he doesn't turn into like a Markelle Fultz or a Ben Simmons. That's the concern some folks have. I heard Mark Spears say that Darren Peterson's very introverted. And so maybe it's something as simple as that, where he's just not a very outgoing person, and the cramps could just be a coincidence. He's dealing with that at the moment. But point is, I think the future of the game is in great hands. We are in a weird little spot here with the NBA right now in terms of a transition. We kind of went through this in the early 2000s, except I thought the game back then was far worse. It was slow, defensive oriented. Points were not being put up regularly. And you had teams like the Spurs and the Pistons routinely, after the Lakers dynasty imploded, routinely owning the NBA. I don't think we're at that bad of a position, but I think the future is very bright. And Armando, I'll let you finish up the show tonight with any final thoughts, if you want.
All I know is that Cooper Flagg ducked this year's draft class for a fucking reason. That's all I know. He declared early. These motherfuckers are bad. Ooh, they bad. And it's a dereliction of duty that the Warriors did not do everything they could to get in the top 4 this year. Dereliction of duty.
Well, it's a dereliction of duty that they traded away yet another prized asset for jack shit. Side note, jack shit, not a very friendly guy either. Usually he leaves your house with a shit stain on your couch. You don't want to deal with jack shit. Not a very nice guy. That's who the Warriors traded for. They traded Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield, who, side note, Quinn Schneider, in case you haven't noticed, it's only been 2 games, but Buddy Hield can't even find minutes against the same Wizards team a lot of you folks are shitting on. Buddy Hield's getting DNPs like he was supposed to with the Warriors. I wish we had Quinn Schneider is what I'm trying to say. That it would be an upgrade. Armando, always a pleasure, brother. These are always fun. I know for some folks, it's like, God damn, that was like a 90-minute just shits, just a storm of just shade being thrown all over the place. But screw it, man. Again, reality is not always bright. And if the Warriors were doing good things, we would not, I at least would not be sounding like this. But it's just, I don't know how you can be positive when this is what's going on, man. It's ugly.
It's fun. I'm having a blast. What's wrong? What's wrong with the Warriors going down, man? It's just life. Shit changes, man. It's fun as hell. This is great. I had a blast watching this season. Go down the fucking tank, man. That shit was nice. A hell of fun, man.
Oh, beautiful. Have a great night. It is Friday. Everyone out there, hope you're having fun. Have a great weekend. Are we done?
Oh, March 21st, Aloha Club, Oakland, burritos, beer, 5 p.m. Saturday. Jonathan Kuminga is coming for that ass.
We'll hype that up as it gets closer. That is going to be a hell of a game. Did you watch those Gilbert Arenas comments?
Oh,
Evan
yeah,
Bowman
man.
and I talked about that.
Woo, baby. Whole
They were
league is going to
cooking.
be watching that game, man.
They were cooking. This should be fun. A crazy Warrior season continues. This man right next to me joins me every Friday for happy hour. Hope you're having a happy hour. Hope you're having a great weekend. The Bay Area is unusually warm. I feel like outside of 10 days, we did not experience winter. Would you agree with that assessment? I know the East Coast and the Midwest has just been dealing with a torrential of snowstorms, just ice, pure misery. Here in the West Coast, we haven't experienced winter. I think there's been 10 days where it got kind of cold and wet. 10. It's crazy.
My bad. Sorry. I got to go. I'm like 10 minutes late. Man.
Sorry, buddy.